Hello, this is Arnel Tanyag with Tanyag Company. Tanyag Company provides results-driven consulting for small businesses by inspiring them to double their income to build a lifestyle, not just a business. Uh, why we do this is we believe that everything we do challenges the status quo of building a business. One way we believe challenge the status quo is we believe every business owner could double their income while creating the ideal lifestyle it's never heard of, which means most business owners are working in their business with little to no vacations, or on a treadmill, or even worse, in quiet desperation. Their business owns them. We believe that's not right, so we spent the last 20 years developing a new perspective, focusing on the core belief: build a lifestyle, not just a business. Again, build a lifestyle, not just a business, which means when your business grows as a result of your lifestyle you want to achieve for you, your family, your employees, and your community, not the other way around. For example, if you want to make $250,000 net income this year and work only 20 hours a week, we should be able to help you figure that out. If you do share the same belief, let's get together and have a conversation so I can show you different ways on building a business that creates the ideal lifestyle. Today's topic is our monthly videos that we do for our workshops. So today's topic is Ultimate Guide for Business Planning. Especially for 2017, we have a process that you use when we actually do our business planning. So in the last couple of days, in less than a month, it's going to be 2017. So what I'm going to do is share a bunch of like 7 tips, 7 ways to have an ultimate guide for business planning. And the hardest thing about business planning you have to remember is that we are planning to improve the business. And it's interesting that I heard a quote recently that Mike Tyson said this, is that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And then when you get punched in the face, is your plan solid, or is your plan going to be thrown out when you actually do get punched in the face? And when you owning a business is very difficult. And then as soon as you get punched in the face, not only once, but multiple times, sometimes the plan gets thrown out the window. You don't do it at all. So we're hoping when we go over these 7 ways that you'll be able to apply this ultimate guide in business planning. So number one, business planning for 2017 or any other year should start with what your why and how do you want to measure in terms of the ideal lifestyle for you, for the people you care for, and for your community. So what does that mean? Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start with the Why, and he said whys are measured in 2 things. Number one is your purpose, core belief, or a statement you live by. So it's a purpose, cause, or belief, or a statement you live by. And then the other part is, what do you do with that? So let me give you an example. Like our core belief is build a lifestyle, not business. That's our core belief. That's our purpose. That's our actual our why. And then build a lifestyle. Like this year, my son went to the Air Force Reserves. He's inactive. We saved up money to go to San Antonio. We stayed there for 5 days. I mean, we haven't really taken a vacation like that for a couple of years. So we went down there for his boot camp, went down for like 5 days. We flew out there, stayed in a rental home. It was beautiful. I mean, it was San Antonio. That was the first vacation we did. And we built the lifestyle around the business. We saved probably about focused and saving money for 3 months and really did it. The rest of my family, mom, dad, sisters came down. It was awesome. I got to see my son. It was great. So next, so what you want to do is you're going to be measuring in terms of things you want to do that business makes you money. So one of the things, what you really want to think about is your why and what will it do. So here's a simple way. I mean, you may not have the core, you may not have the core belief, the purpose, or the cause, but what you may have is what you want to do if you do make that money. So for example, say next year if you make an extra $100,000, what is important to you? Is it buying a car? Is it taking a trip? Is it paying debt? What would you do with that extra money? Would you work less? But what is it important? It's not usually the first or second thing. It's usually the third. It may just you may just say, I just want to prove I can do it. Or it may say, give me an example. I had a client who owned a mobile detail business, and he's always lived in rental homes and apartments. And he's been married, a second marriage, and they have combined kids. But they're all, it's really hard in this apartment, or I think it's rental home. So he literally said, Arnel, I really want to grow the business in the next 3 or 4 months so I can literally buy this house. We found this house, 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath, great neighborhood. I really want to have a house. I said, well, how important? He said, Arnel, it's really important. We've been living in apartments, rental homes, and we just want a house this year. So I'm going to push the business really hard to get it. Well, lo and behold, by the end of November, he got in the house. I mean, he literally had to save up money, save up money for a down payment, save up money for repairs. I mean, he had to get his taxes done. I mean, he had everything all lined in this house. No, he got a house. And so then I asked him after the house, I said, hey, what do you want to do next to grow your business? He goes, I don't know. I ain't got enough big enough wad to drive me. So right now, I said, well, your wife wants a new car. He goes, oh, no, 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 no. I don't know if that's a big enough wad for me or not. But he said, I'll think about it. I got to think of something big. Because the why is measuring, again, cause, belief, or purpose. That's the feeling. Then there's actual tangible measures like trips, buying cars, saving money for college. But you have to have that because that is in your gut. What you feel is the driving force. Because money can't be your why. Money is considered a reason why people fail. There's a book written by Simon Reynolds that says money is one of the reasons why people fail in business life. Because when you're making money, there's no substance to it, there's no heart to it, there's no feeling to it. And I've seen people who just want to make money, and when they actually make money, they have nothing to show for it. They don't feel good about it. It's more of a task. It was an achievement, but nothing that was really something that they really see themselves. And the why has to be something that you actually are inspired, not motivated. All right, number two is once you figure out what you want to accomplish, the things you want to accomplish next year, you want to figure out is how much money do I need additionally from my business, and how is that measured specifically in revenue, right? Specifically in revenue a month. How many new clients I have to bring, or how many new sales appointments, so you can really measure it down. Because here's the thing: say you want to make $100,000 additional, and you have a recurring revenue of $30,000, so you got to you got to get another $70,000. That's not even, and we haven't even talked about if that was net or gross. So there's actually a formula to help you figure it out, and then you'll know that I may have to have 10 new clients a month, but it's not 10 new clients a month is not it's a lagging indicator. What we really need to figure out is how many people do you actually have to talk to generate that new business. But number two, the way is really figuring out how much money does the business have to generate net income. Then you work backwards to figure out the revenue, minus your expenses and all that. Actually, with your expenses, and then you break down to what's your average sale, what's your closing ratio, what's the conversion ratio, and then you can actually figure out is how many actual people you have to talk to on a weekly or daily basis. Because whatever you want to accomplish as a result of your why, it's equivalent to how much money you need additionally for the business, and that is broken down to how much revenue, it's broken down to how many new clients, it's broken down to actually how many conversations I'm talking to people that may need your service then. But the whole idea is once you have that bucket list of things I want to do, what do I have to basically do in the business to achieve it? Number three is once you figured out the money and time it's needed and determine all that, you have to basically figure out how is the business going to change. So a lot of times when people figure out, like, give you an example, like I have some clients who are realtors, and what they'll say, I want to make an extra $100,000 a year. And I said, okay. And we look at the business model, like, well, okay, what does that mean right now? So you're probably going to have to hire a transaction coordinator. They look at them like, you got to be kidding me. Or they're going to have to outsource more work. And go, Arnel, I don't know how to do that. I said, well, I don't know how we're going to make 150,000, 200,000 just you. I mean, you might be able to sustain a monthly on track of 25, 30,000 by yourself, but a 4th or 5th month, you're going to be tired and exhausted. So I always tell people you have to be able to change your business model. If you really want to do, like I mentioned earlier, 250,000 a year, but only want to work 4 days a week, how do we change the business model? How do we change it? Like for example, financial advisors, they can make 250, 300, but how do they make the model work better for them to do that? I know some clients are realtors, and what they do is they add a team, or they start their own brokerage firm. You just have to be willing to change the business model, because at the end of the day, if you really want to achieve the results you want to do, you're going to be changing your model. And the model basically means, how do I change my operations delivery? I may have to hire an assistant, administrative assistant. I may have to have a marketing assistant, or I may have to hire somebody operational wise. Business development. Some people tell me I don't want to buy leads, but let me tell you what I found out is companies who buy leads and the margins are really good, high margins, they can grow a lot faster and quicker because they don't have to go out and generate new business. I mean, the hardest thing for business owners when they don't have the capital to advertise or find out what to use lead sources they purchase. The difficult part is they got to go out and self-generate the business, and it will work, but it takes a lot of time. It has to be a lot of focus, and it's a slow way to do it. I always tell people you have the combination of both. And then the other thing about when you change the business model is besides operations, business development, and you got to have to change staffing. You have to change getting the space. I mean, like uh, I've been doing my business for a couple of years, and I have a virtual office that I literally rent for meetings, and I sublease an office for a real estate office because I need a place to work. I mean, that's why I'm doing my video here. Because if I didn't have that, man, I was working out at coffee shops. It was very very difficult to work out at coffee shops. Like I said, the coffee shop, I make phone calls, people come see me. I couldn't put a sign saying "Do not disturb." So you have to change the business model. Way number four is once you figure out your why and what you want to accomplish personally, you figure out the money I need to generate and figure out what it equates to number of new clients, and then what is the actual conversation you have to talk to people, and then you have to figure out the strategy and tactics. And here's the interesting thing: a lot of people don't have strategy and tactics are so different, and I'm going to give you a very simple explanation. A strategy is a plan, a tactics, actual activity. Like give you an example. Everybody says, I want to increase my word of mouth business. I want to increase my word of mouth business. Well, that could be a strategy, but there could be different tactics. Like, for example, I could do videos of testimonials. I can tell stories about people. I can ask my clients for referrals and introduction. I could build a network of people who refer and introduce me. I could do events that drive more referrals. See, all those things I mentioned are tactics under word of mouth. The thing what you have to figure out is, some people say, Arnel, do I just do a bunch of things and throw it on its wall? Hey, that's workable. There's not an issue with that. But here's the thing: if you throw a bunch of things on the wall and you implement it really quickly, you need to measure it and decide after 90 days, 6 months, what I keep or don't keep. And it's fine. Sometimes I tell people, let's create a bunch of mess in the beginning, but we track it for 3 to 6 months, and then we pick and choose what we're going to keep, and we're going to get rid of the rest that doesn't seem to work for your personality style or it's not effective. But the whole idea is I think you have to really develop the strategy where you can say, okay, Arnel, I'm going to buy leads. Okay, here's some different lead sources. Or here, Arnel, I'm going to self-generate leads. So what I'm going to do, like, most of my business is solely off self-generation. So I'm in a BNI group because I want to network with people. I'm working that. I have developed a generosity network of people who are teaching them to introduce and refer me. I'm even asking my existing clients if they're open to refer or introduce me. I'm even looking at getting a lead source. I'm gonna start working LinkedIn. And I may even, I have subscribed to Thumbtack, and I get leads, 2 or 3 times a month for business consulting. So I may even look at that because I do like lead sources because at the end of the day, it's good to get leads. You grow a lot faster. You just have to have the infrastructure in place. I even looked at Facebook ads and stuff like that to generate leads. So, but as a business owner, when you're growing your business, you have to look at it in 2 ways: does the company self-generate leads? I mean, that's me, or I hire other people, or do I buy lead sources like advertising, TV, radio, what you call, Valpak, YP.com, Google search, local SEO. I mean, there's a lot of options. So, but it comes down to you as the owner, what's better for you in the business. But in your business plan, you got to realize and figure out it's strategy, tactics. Is it something the company's going to self-generate where people got to go out and do it, or I as the owner, or we're going to hire sources that give us leads. Every industry has leads. I mean, one of my niches is real estate. It's amazing how you can buy leads, different lead sources, and then you have to have the infrastructure to do it, or you can self-generate leads. I mean, I prefer my business because I'm B2B. I'd rather self-generate leads through relationships, but also I'm looking at some lead sources so that it's okay to get those, because when you do get those, you can convert them over time. Way number 5, you want to set and measure your goals every 90 days. So when you're doing your business plan for next year, like 2017, everybody goes, let's write out your how much money you want to make in the year, right? And then what you want to do is focus it and narrow it down your business plan for the first 90 days. Build your plan for that first 90 days. Because here's what happens when I've seen this in the last 20 years. When somebody writes a business plan and they write all this big grandiose idea and all this, and they figure out how much money, and they write the plan, how much money they want to do every month. In the first 30, 90 days, if they don't achieve that, they usually just go slump down. And if they do achieve it, they keep nice and steady. I'll give you a story. I had a gentleman who was in my 90-day class, and we figured out he doubled in 90 days, right? And then the following 4 or 5 months, he coasted. He had a great year. So next year, you want to do 380,000 gross commission. So we figured out, we wrote the plan out, this and that. But what happens is, it was 6 months in the year, he was like behind, almost like 200,000, or like 185, 200,000. And I said, look, man, it's close to 6 months of the year. If you don't hurry up, we're not going to make it. And you need to tell your wife that you ain't going on this cruise. He was like, what do you mean? I'm telling my wife. I said, well, what does that mean? I said, well, here's what we need to do. I said, if you really want to do this, you need to look at your numbers. You need to break it down every 90 days, and you just need to know what to say yes to and no. He's going to say no if it's not going to bring you any money, and say yes to opportunities that can. I mean, literally, he just focused like a laser. By December 28th, he literally qualified for the trip. And how I knew, he called me up that day and said, Arnel, I'm going to the company trip. I mean, he cut it by the wire. He did 380,000 on gross deal commission in that year. So what we realized, because when we help people double their income, we tell them to write their plan for 90 days, and then we work like heck every month to achieve it. Because here's the thing about every month, and then we work like heck every week. Because what you can do in 90 days, you can literally, there's a book called the 12-week year. What you can do is you literally can shrink your business in 12 weeks and see if you can double or maintain. But it's more, I tell people, it's very focused that way, because you can plan your vacations, readjust your numbers, and still keep momentum going. And it's amazing how people will surprise themselves when they really focus, they can actually double. We've had people double their income in 90 days, and then they just take off. We have people who may take 6 months to double, but we always tell them that after 90 days, if you do really well, okay, great, readjust your goals. If you don't do really well, shake it off, and let's readjust your goals the next 90 days, refocus. I had a client of mine who literally, she's been in real estate probably 2 years. She said, all right, I want to do 75,000 gross. And she said, look, I'm really close. I mean, I have 5 more months left, and I'm going to, I'm probably about 80% of my goal. I said, well, why don't you raise it up? She goes, oh, I don't know if I want to raise it up. I said, come on now, no. And I think, and I realized after talking to her, she just wanted to prove herself that she can do at 75. Well, I think she'll probably finish 75, 80. And it's amazing, because once you know the numbers, you work from 90-day periods, you'll do really well. But you want to do it from 90 days. So your business plan should work for 90 days, and if you do really well, readjust your goals based on your overall yearly goal and adjust it for the next quarter. But if you don't do well that first quarter, shake it off, readjust your goals the second quarter with the makeup, and then refocus. It's more realistic. People love it that way. It makes it a lot easier. Number 6 is block out time weekly to review your production. So on Sunday night, what you really want to do is you really want to focus on, okay, if I need to talk to 20 people this week, and last week I talked to 15, how am I going to make up, 25 this week? What do I have to do to adjust my schedule? Who do I have to talk to have low-hanging fruit? Because when you review your activity every week, you can review, who are low-hanging fruit, who are in the sales process I have to bring in, who in the we call it the outside wood pile that we have to talk to. So like this weekend, I have a list in my office of all the people I have to follow up to. I basically have a bunch, like maybe 10 to 15 leads. I have a bunch of clients I have to follow up with. I mean, I have things in place that literally help me follow up, because every week I look at my production and say, okay, what can I bring in this month? What can I do? Who have to handle operation wise? Where I'm at in the sales of the process, and it works. I mean, amazing thing about it is that if you don't have a weekly, I call a post-week and a pre-week, meaning that you look at your post-week, results, good, bad, and different, make adjustments, improve, and then you look at your following week, what I have to do to make it up. I mean, how do we make it up is sometimes you have to readjust your schedule that week to get the results you want, and it's amazing. It works. And the last thing what you want to do is set up some type of accountability and structure that helps you accomplish your goals and objectives and the following year in 2017, or any other year. Because here's the thing, I've seen it. I mean, I'll give you an example. I had this realtor um, who came to my realtor forum. He was doing really well. I mean, he was doing 2 or 3 transactions a month, and it was beginning of the year, and by April, May, it slowed down. He couldn't figure out what happened. So we sat down and talked, and I realized that what happened is when he was doing 3 or 4 transactions a month, he wasn't doing any activity to generate any leads. He wasn't self-generating leads. He stopped doing business development. I call it lead generation, self-generating leads, and he went down to like 1 or 2. So he came and became a client, and then what we ended up doing over a 3 to 6 month period is make sure that he would generate enough, self-generate enough activity to generate leads. By 4 to 6 months, he was averaging about 2 or 3, and then 3 or 4 months later, he ended up having 4 to 5 deals a month. He was saying for 3 months he was on a nice climb, because what he was doing is he had so many things coming up that things were starting to pop, that it was like 3 deals, 4 deals, 5 deals, and he was on a treadmill for those I think at least 3 or 4 months, and now it's kind of tapered off to 2 deals a month. So I said to him, I said, "How do you like it?" I said, "Well, I ended up in the month of November becoming top in my office." And I said, "I'm not surprised." And I said, "But here's my concern is that he tasted the flow of business. He actually brought in a transaction coordinator to help him do that." So I said, "Look, here's what we need to do: is you really need to make sure we have enough activity to do the lead flow. And you really need to make sure that you have a list of that's getting done every day. And you may have to outsource those tasks. And then last thing is, once you do that, is we make sure that if you're bogged down with operational things, that can we pass on to somebody else? Because it doesn't matter what business is, it's how the leads are generated, can I manage the lead, and then operational, who's going to do the service. But it's interesting, because I don't think if he got any help when he had that great run in the beginning of the year and it slowed down, I don't think he'd have been doing phenomenal toward the end of the year. Because I think this year he's going to make the most money, and he's right now, I think, in the top 2 or 3 of the office. I don't know if he's number one. We're gonna find out by the end of this, but it's amazing because he had accountability and support. Because when you're busy in the moment, of just doing a lot of deals, you forget what has to be done to maintain the flow. Or here's the other side of the other extreme: if you get punched in the face because you had a plan and you got punched once, punched twice, 3 times, the biggest difficult part is how to recover. And a lot of times what happens is, when you hit survival mode, and it's very hard to make some changes. And then if you're really busy, it's very even harder to make changes because you're just riding that wave. And I tell people most of the time, you have to look at how you're wired on change. I mean, there's a book by Gretchen Rubin called Better Than Before, Mastering the Everyday Habit of Success, and there's certain tendencies toward change. So a lot of times what you have to really do is how you change through difficult and failure, and how do you change through success. Because when you're running a business, it doesn't matter if it's real estate, it doesn't matter if it's a computer, it doesn't matter if you're a business owner, an independent contractor, or a top salesperson. You really have to be focusing on making sure that, number one, how my leads are generated, and who's following up, and where they're converting in sales. Number two, what's the operation and delivery of that? If I have to do it with somebody else, and then reviewing your activity. And because it's amazing, if you really zone in your planning of your business plan in 90 days, you can get into a nice rhythm and flow, and then almost come to an understanding realization that you can predict your income every 90 days. When I was the B&I director, I realized that I didn't have a business plan in the first couple of years, and I know it cost me a ton of money, and I've always was behind. So I remember when I got smart, I'll tell you what I got smart is I realized every holiday season was slow. So one year, what I did is, when I knew the holiday season would kick in around after Thanksgiving, that last quarter, which was October, November, and December, what I would do, and go into January, what I would do is I would look at my B&I region, and I would divide the groups into A, B's, and C's, and then and A, B's, and C's based on, well, this group had great attendance, inviting visitors normally, Could they do contests through Visitor Day? And really what I ended up doing is I had conversations with all the leadership teams, say, how are we going to build momentum? How are we going to make sure people are making money during the holiday season? How are they going to do well in what they do? And almost 80% of the groups had some type of activity to generate new business during the holiday season. And so when going into the following year, I agree. I mean, I had momentum going in there because I was able to learn from my plan every 90 days, and I can make adjustments. So again, the ultimate guide for planning for business. What happens is again, I'll give you 7 different tips, share different stories. I'm gonna send you the notes so you can actually look at it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My name is Arnel Tanyag, Tanyag Company, and the number you can reach me is 757-752-8169, 757-752-8169. Again, thanks for listening to this video. I hope it's very helpful. And again, look forward to meeting you in person, or you want to reach out to me, don't hesitate to. You'll find me by calling my number, or you can find me on Facebook and all that stuff like that, Twitter. Again, thanks a lot and have a great day.